Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Year 4 Maths. I hope you've had a wonderful half-term holiday. The weather's been beautiful. Not often we get weather like that. So hopefully you've been able to get out and enjoy it a little. We're going to start this morning with our usual 4-question warm-up. 2 questions that are mental method questions, 2 that might be written. Okay. Remember, press pause while you are working out your answers, and then press play when you're ready to hear me talk through some of the methods you might have used. So press pause now if you're ready to start. Okay, first question we're going to look at this morning is question A, 120 divided by 4. Now this is using and applying a known division fact, times table division fact. What we need to do first of all is remember, we talked about covering the magic zero. So 120 divided by 4, okay, if we cover the magic zero, it becomes 12 divided by 4. We all know that 12 divided by 4 is 3, because 3 4s are 12. You then would release the magic zero and your answer would become 30. So 120 divided by 4 equals 30. Second question we're going to look at this morning, we're going to look at 90 plus 60 down here. Now this is a straightforward place value question. The 2 ways you could have done it. The first way is that you just think about only changing the tens digit. Okay, so we would count on in tens from 90. So 90, and then we would say plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So our answer to 90 plus 60 would be 150. The other method you could have used might have been to think in your head, you might have been able to partition 60, and you might say, okay, I'm going to add 10 to 90 to make 100, and then add the other 50 that's left to make 150. It'd be your choice. You could choose whatever method you like. Okay, third question this morning. We're going to look at 456 times 3, okay, multiplied by 3. And I'm going to give you 2 methods as per usual. First method, always try and push this one, is the abstract method of short multiplication. So 6 3s are 18, 5 3s are 15, but we have to add in the 1 that we had to carry here, and 4 3s are 12, and again we have to add the 1 in to make 13. Our answer then would be 1368. Second method will be all about partitioning. If I partition 456, I would get 450 and 6, and I'd need to multiply each of those by 3 because that is the number that we're multiplying by in the question. So 400 times 3 would be 1200 or 1200. 50 times 3 would be 150, and 6 times 3 would be 18. And if we recombine those numbers, we would get 1368, exactly the same as our abstract answer. And finally, the last question, probably the trickiest question this morning. 7,431 take away a mystery number equals 4,843. Well, firstly, what I would do here is switch the order of the number sentence. Okay, doesn't matter which of these 2 that you take away. So because 4,843 is a known fact, I would move that into there. Okay, and I would move the question mark to the other side of the equal sign, just like I've done here. Then I could go ahead and complete the subtraction using whatever method I wanted. Now the method I'm using this morning is decomposition, okay, where we exchange if we need to. First one there, 1 take away 3 we cannot do, so we need to exchange a 10 from this column. That becomes 11 then. 11 take away 3 would be 8. We then have 2 take away 4. Again, we cannot do that, so we need to exchange from the hundreds column there. This makes this number over here 12. 12 take away 4 is 8. Then over here, we're left with 3 take away 8. Well, we can't do that, so we need to exchange from this column, and that makes this 13. 13 take away 8 is 5. And then finally, the last column, 6 take away 4 is 2. So in answer to our question, it would be 2,588. Okay, moving on. Our learning intention this morning, we are going to be, as we said before half term, we're starting to look at area and measuring area of shapes. So what we're going to be looking at this morning is measuring surface area, the next part. And our star words this morning would be measure, area, squares, and tiles. The in focus task this morning, it's saying there, can we use these square tiles to make as many different figures as you can? So as many different shapes as you can. You do not need to use all 4 tiles. So pretty much you'd be able to move these about and put them in any order that you liked. Now, this would require you to use the knowledge learned in the last lesson. And the question is, what do you need to know to be able to answer the question? And we'll be looking at that as we move through our learning this morning. Okay, let's learn. So this particular chap here has only used 3 of the tiles. And what he's done then, he's put these tiles into 2 shapes. He's lined them all up almost in a linear way here, in a line. So he's used 1, 2, 3. And he's also put them in like an L shape here. Okay, and again, 1, 2, 3. What he hasn't done is put any of them so that they're diagonally on a corner, okay, because that wouldn't be a linear shape. It wouldn't be a correct shape, okay, for this surface area problem. You need to make sure that the all the tiles are joined completely by one side. So you can see here he's got the joins, and here. What we do say about these 3 shapes are that all 3 of them have the same surface area. They might be different shapes, but all 3 of them have a surface area of 3 squares or 3 tiles. Okay, secondly then, the young lady, she's going to have a go at using 4 of the tiles. First of all, the first question is, how many square tiles does she use? Well, we've just said she uses 4. But how many different shapes can you think of that use square tiles like this? Can you draw them? If you haven't got any square paper, on this week's learning page, I've put up a PDF, a printable sheet that has squares on it. So if you do or are struggling for squares, why don't you download that, and you could always use that. Okay, so first up this morning, then, how many different shapes can you think of that use this many square tiles? Press pause while you're working, and then press play when you're ready to discuss the answer. Okay, so these are some of the shapes that you might have drawn. How many of them did you draw? And just be aware that this particular shape here, okay, would still be the same shape even if you turned it up and made it vertical as opposed to horizontal. It would still be the same shape, so you can't put the same shape twice. Same way with the L shape. It doesn't matter what way round you put it. Excuse me. It would still be an L shape if you have this type of shape. It's okay, so it's really important that you're not just rotating the shapes and thinking that they're different. Okay. Okay, our guided task this morning, I want you to look at all of the shapes on this screen. And the question is, can you find the area of each shape in square tiles? Okay, so if you think back to the previous page, each of these shapes had an area, a surface area of 4 square tiles. And you could count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your job on this question is, can you find the area of each of the shape in the squares? And then finally, maybe you could have a little look and look at which shapes might have the same surface area or the same area. Press pause while you're working and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, we're ready to move on to the independent learning task for this morning. What I would like you to do is have a go at completing worksheet 2 on pages 105 to 106 of your workbook. Press pause when you're ready to work and press play when you're ready to continue. Finally, for the plenary task this morning. Now, it says here working groups of 3 or 4. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that, but you might be able to do either on your own, or if you want to work with an adult or an older brother or sister, you're more than welcome to. What I want you to do using squared paper is I want you to make a shape or a figure using 5 square tiles. Okay, so whereas before we looked at using 4 square tiles and 3 square tiles, how could you come up with any ideas that might use 5 of them? And can you make as many shapes as you can? Okay, just remember, all of the shapes or all of the figures must have the same surface area, which will be 5 squares. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye bye, year 4.